All right, good afternoon. This is Jonathan Alexander with Live Border News. And today I have two special guests. I've got Daniel Buteris, who's running for United States Congress, and I've got Mike Grant with Guns Unlimited. He's a fire instructor, trainer. And we'll be here live here in 1 second with you guys. I'm going to add these guys to the stage. All right, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon, John.
So one of the things I really want to talk about today is all the crap going on with Kamala Harris and her new elected vice president that she wants to be elected, and all the corruption going on in this country, starting with our borders and everything else. So, Dan, you're running for United States Congress.
Yep.
And we need to express to the viewing audience why it's so important to get Grahava out of office. And I'm going to let you take over for a second while I make sure this is live streamed everywhere.
All right. Well, I want to let you know right now, I was being interviewed by AZ cops, and they informed me that Grahava now has brain cancer. I've been informed by nurses that worked in the hospital where Grahava was at that he has pancreatic cancer that became lung cancer. Grahava recently came out. Well, he didn't actually come out. His spokesperson came out, and they sent a picture of Grahava that clearly he's dying in the picture, and announced that he's done with the chemo for now, and he's trying to get stronger. Well, the bottom line is, Grahava, we're in the middle of a campaign year, and Grahava is not being honest to the constituents. Why is he not coming out and talking to anybody? Why has nobody seen him? I mean, we're in the middle of an election. We are headed into the general. And I believe they're pulling what they did to Biden, a basement run. And that does need to get out to the people. But this is the guy that has kept the southern border in Arizona open for almost 22 years. He was in the board he was a member of the school board from 1972 till he went into the board of supervisors. During that time, he did some good stuff, and he probably should have stayed at the board of supervisors because he implemented magnet. Now he's in Congress. Because he's opened our borders, we're about to lose the magnet funding program here in Arizona. So the same program that he did a good thing in the board when he was board of supervisor, we're going to lose because he refuses to secure the border. This is one of the many reasons why the border needs to be secured. Another thing that I've been talking about, and I'm sure a lot of your viewers may belong to this group, but gun owners are not voting. Gun owners are not registered. We have a nut job running for the presidency who just appointed another nut job as vice president. And gun owners don't want to get registered and save our guns. Can you believe that, Jonathan?
You know, everything that we're seeing right now is just unbelievable. You know, how about the 40 people, different Republicans right now that are totally turning against our party that's going to vote for Harris as well?
They've lost their minds.
You know, I mean, these are people that we voted in, and that's one of the reasons why I keep expressing the importance of make sure you're vetting people properly, make sure you find out what their stance is and exactly what their beliefs are. Because right now, the way it's going, Arizona is flipping blue totally.
Yeah, well, we definitely need the Christians to come out and vote, and we need the gun owners to get registered and come out and vote, and we can save this country. But if gun owners decide they're not going to get registered because they think the government's going to track them, which is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Believe me, we may not have to register our guns in Arizona, but every time we walk into a store and buy a gun, the store has to let the federal government know that Daniel Buteris bought a gun. They don't have to tell them what gun they bought, but the government knows your address. They know where you're at. They know you got a gun. Get out there, register, and help us keep your rights to keep that gun. Because these people need to get off their ass and get out and help us.
Well, Dan, one of the problems that we've really seen a lot after the last election, a lot of people threw their hands up in the air and said they're just done voting. They said our votes don't matter, especially after all the election fraud and different things going on. And people right now need to understand that their vote does matter. We need everybody on board or we're totally going to lose this country. Good example. You look what's happened with Mike Grant, with Kamala Harris and the releasing of all of his information. And he's a federal arms dealer instructor. And they put his information out to the whole world to see it, which me and Mike just did a video here a couple of days ago on this matter. And, Mike, I don't know how you tolerated all the garbage you've been put through. It's unbelievable. And I'd love for you to take over here in a second. One of the things I'd like to share as well today is how bad Facebook is getting. So I'm on my livebordernews.com channel on Facebook. I posted about all the law officers that lost their lives here in 2024. I tried to share it over to my personal page, and Facebook turned around and sent me a nice message. And let me see if I can find it so I can share it with you guys. I think I actually published it on my main page. So they sent me out a nice rude awakening. So right here on livebordernews.com, it says, honoring those who served, who gave their lives to protect the citizens of the United States. Rest in peace. So I shared that over to my main Facebook page, which has a whole list of all the officers that lost their lives in 2024. And Facebook turns around and hits me with a reply. And I'm going to get to the reply because I shared it on my Live Border News channel under the same article. And my comment. So right here, let's see if you guys all can see it. I'm going to try to share this with you guys. Can you guys read that?
I can't. It's too small.
Okay, so I'll read word for word what it says. It says, here we go. We removed your post. Updates on this decision you'll hear back soon. And then it says here, it looks like you tried to get likes, follows, shares, or video views in a misleading way. So maybe you guys can see that now. It's in larger print.
Yeah. We yep. Yeah, we can see that.
So explain to me how in the hell is it a misleading way sharing about our law enforcement officers around the country that died in 2024? How is that misleading?
It's not.
It's not at all.
It just shows you how communist Facebook has become, as well as a lot of all the Democrats. And I'm just going to call it like it is. If they want to shut my page down, they can shut me down for saying such a thing. But at this point in time, I'm absolutely disgusted that Americans cannot share about the loss of our law enforcement officers around this country and to have Facebook turn around and yank their ad. So if you guys go over to livebordernews.com on Facebook, you can read the post that I did. I think it's the second post down. And then I shared Facebook's message under the messages on that post of what they had to say to me about it. But Mike, everything that you've been put through as well, sir, once again, I'd love for you to share with this audience. I've got you out on multiple broadcasts right now as well. I'd like for you to share one more time just a little bit about what took place with you and Kamala Harris.
Well, October of 2016, I got a notification as a federal dealer in the state of California that they shared in California, to be a dealer, you have to be a firearms instructor in the state of California. So she had a breach up there and released all the information from, your driver's license, basically all your information out to somebody that had a FOIA in, I guess, and by accident. It was just another accidental breach. So at the same time, this is October. She doesn't notify us until you've got the letter there probably handy, Jonathan. I think it was the end of December or something like that. After
Correct.
the elections, after Trump was voted in, she releases that, we had a little bit of a snafu here at the Department of Justice. And she releases the information, tells you you got 2 years of free, credit bureau stuff, which really doesn't matter. Once they have your information, social or whatever, you're pretty well done. It's tough to get that, turned around. You can put all that stuff in and lock your credit down and everything. But worse than anything, then they have your address. Then they know where you're at. So then we move ahead a little bit here to 2022, and the Attorney General we have now that replaced her, his name's Rob Bonta, and he works for the nutcase Newsom, and turns around and we have another breach. This time they released all the CCW, concealed weapon holders, in the state with all their driver's license, again, all the information, and this affected all the judges, anybody that has a concealed weapon permit from 2011 to 2022 got released on the public. And, so it was out there 24 hours, both of them said 24 hours. They noticed it, they shut it down. What this is, a lot of this, and Bonta, his information came out about it. This is people that were actually inside the department, I call them the gun haters, that turned around and released this information basically on their own. There was not a breach. He released this information, this person. So this got put out on the thing. There's a class action lawsuit by the California Rifle and Pistol. Don't know where it's at right now. I didn't have time to check into it anymore. Those take a long time. They were suing Bonta. So that's been 2 years. But what I was talking the other day to you, Jonathan, it concerns me, and I keep bringing this up and thinking about it, is should this communist get into office, you call her Kamala, I call her Kamala, if she gets into office, there's no doubt that I think Garland is gone, but what concerns me is, would she tap on the shoulder of Bonta and bring all the California stuff nationwide besides her? She would weaponize the Department of Justice and come after everybody, as far as the guns, all the information. Like she says, if we don't win the House and the Senate, we're kind of like Dan said, my gosh, people, get out. Don't worry about them knowing where your guns are at. They already know where your guns are at. Trust me. There's no secret to this stuff. They know that you have a weapon. Your sheriff's department knows it. The local law enforcement know it. In California, they know it immediately. The federal government knows it because all of you guys that are in the other states, you had to go through the NICS check, which is a federal document. Now, they say they don't record those and save those. Well, I'm not going to buy that. I believe they never throw anything away because they might need it to come back against you someday. So it's a pretty sad situation that we've gone through, and I'm not the only one. There's thousands of people in the state of California have gone through this punishment by these people. And Kamala, she's one of the worst in the world when it comes to actually doing something about it. You guys are just starting to see her, other than that she was the border czar, and she did a real good job there. We've been seeing it for years here in California with this the guns and the gun law. Now, on top of that, Bonta, so you get an idea, Dan, to pass around what Bonta was like. He is the one that came up with this gun bill called SB2 that was going to restrict all the concealed weapon permit holders because Bruin got released And what did the Democrats do like normal? They go in the corner and they kick like little kids, and they're pouting, and they turned around and they went after the concealed weapon holders with vengeance in this state. And they tried to restrict us from carrying our guns to any place except in your car in the street. That's it. You couldn't get out and go in a park. You couldn't go in a grocery store. They were making them all unrestricted. Well, that got reversed because they knew it was unconstitutional. The Ninth Circuit Court reversed that. But these are the types of people that we got out here in California that, unfortunately, it's just scary, that are sitting in the White House right now, and possibly Newsom and all of them could get drug into this stuff by Harris and this clown from Minnesota.
Yep.
So,
yeah, Mike, I just shared something yesterday on Facebook, a live hearing where the Biden administration is trying to get these new judges elected right now. And one judge lady that they were talking to is one of the gals that supports children getting sex changes at a young age, that's been to different riots and different things, and she supports all this kind of stuff. And they nailed the hell out of her at the hearing yesterday. But the point is, this is the kind of corrupt government that we're going to be facing, folks. If we don't vote, if we don't get out there and get this out to America, I mean, both of you guys have been down even to the border with me. Look at the crap going on the border. Sassby, Arizona, Yuma, Arizona, we get even the Texas borders. I mean, East Coast to West Coast is now what I call a border state. It doesn't matter what city you're in, because they're shipping these illegals right to your front door all across America. And that's just something I'm trying to get out to the American people. For those of you that are too blind to see it right now, it will be coming to your front door soon enough. But at the same time, none of these politicians want to get anything really done. And I'm going to blame both sides of the aisle. I mean, this election came up. What was it? Border, border, border. Everybody's talking about the border. Miraculously, they're all talking about it all of a sudden. Right after the elections are over with, we're going to be back to deja vu all over again. What are they doing for America? This is why it's so important to get Donald Trump in office. As far as I'm concerned, he is the man that's going to fight to make a difference. It's important to get Daniel Buteris elected because he's a man that will fight for us. But we need fighters. We got to quit getting these rhinos in office that want to flip-flop back and forth, just like these 40 Republicans just got done doing. And I'm soon going to have every one of their damn names, and I'm going to publicize them to the world. But the point is, they flipped it. They flipped on our party, totally flipped, and are voting for Kamala. I mean, that tells you right there how important it is that people pay attention. And that's why I tell people, I don't care if you got to dig through their Facebook 10 years back. Dig through it. See the different stances that they stood on, even 5 years ago. Yeah, you can find a lot of flaws that would be a red flag for me on a lot of them. Anything, Dan?
Oh, I've been watching.
Why don't you tell the people of Arizona what you're going to do for our state?
First off, I'm going to secure the border. And until we take care of the homeless in our communities and deal with the issues in our communities, we don't need to be bringing anybody here. That's just common sense. We need to take care of our house, period. We've got our families, we've got our friends, we've got our loved ones here that we need to take care of. And that's why I believe in America first. Okay, I believe we need to take care of the people here. So the next thing we need to deal with is the crime. We got stores closing everywhere behind the crime. Most of those crimes are happening because of the drugs pouring across our southern border and the homeless we have 900 homeless camps in Tucson, 900 of them.
Yeah.
And they got to survive. They're going into stores and they're taking what they want and they're walking out. Stores now are paying for security, which is costing those of us that are going in there to shop. We have to pay more for everything to pay for the security.
And don't forget
I
about
don't,
the high inflation on top of it.
and the inflation that's being increased because we're printing out money that we didn't need to print out. I haven't talked to you in a little while, John, but right now Tucson is paying out $1.4 million a week to house, and I know you know about the house inmate the house illegals in Tucson because you
Yep.
went to one of the motels and they wouldn't let you get a place there because they're full of illegals. We are paying $1.4 million a week to house, clothe, and feed them. Their kids are going to our schools and we're paying for all their school supplies. And here's what I'm talking about, America First. The kids in America, some of their parents don't have the money to buy the school supplies for their own children.
Oh, exactly.
So,
100%. How's things in California, Mike, with all the homeless camps and everything down there where you're at, sir?
Well, Oakland's a war zone with them, but just recently our great governor decided that he was going to do something because it's an election year. He was going to move out all the homeless, load them up and move them out. And I've seen one of the centers, they had it on TV the other night in Oakland. A lot of these people won't go into those centers. They don't want any part of it. They're giving them a free bus ticket back to their own where they came from, whatever state or whatever. But either way, you know, we have a big fentanyl and drug issue out here that's pretty bad, probably in Arizona too. And these people are just shooting up on the street in San Francisco, and you know they're doing everything. The politicians this year are doing everything they can to try to make it, you know, put lipstick on the pig and make it look like they're really doing something when they should have been doing this all the way along, but they aren't. I get back to Harris for a second, and it has to do with the Proposition 47. If you guys haven't, if you want to see Proposition 47, that'll probably be coming to a doorstep near you if she gets in. She was part of that group that put this in for lenience on the convictions of these criminals. So they just let them out of jail, and she was also, you all probably have heard that by now, that she was involved in, you know, starting that group up to bail all those people out of Minneapolis out of jail, right along with their vice president appointee right now that wants to be the VP. But this 47, they've realized how bad it is out in California now with the crime that, like Dan's talking about. Well, it's so bad that you can't even go anywhere on the trains. They got a BART train, they call it. We call it the murder train because there's more people in Oakland get attacked on that train at night. You don't ride that train and go places. But with that being said, she's part of that whole group that was behind this 47 and let all these criminals out of jail. Our DA, like the one in San Francisco a year ago, he got recalled. Our DA is up for a recall right now, Pamela Price, because she'll let murderers off with no problem. You all know about the guy that found the gun over in San Francisco and shot Kate Steinle out of Pleasanton, California. He found the gun on the docks over there. It was a BLM officer's gun in a backpack. He found it in the car or whatever, said he found it on the ground, and the gun mysteriously went off, you know, and killed the girl. Well, he'd been deported I don't know how many times, and he was back, and they still haven't done anything with that guy. You know, so
Yep.
this stuff just continues to kick the can down the road. That's what I was at the police department today, which is the sheriff's department, at 2:30 meeting with them and telling them that you guys had better change your tactics of policing are still in the 90s. You know, you drive around in your cars, you do everything. You haven't seen this we call this the green zone over the hill here. It's kind of safe over in this area within reason. It's not like Oakland, San Francisco, LA. But I told him, I said, it's coming to a place near us. And you guys need to change your tactics a little bit and start getting more technology involved to watch this because these criminals, I said, are you guys stopping any of these people that look illegal in town and confronting them? And both the captain and the commander looked at me and they go, no. I said, that's the first thing they asked me. They wanted to know when I was going back to the border. I said, because they all know up here that I go down there. And I told
Hey,
them,
Mike,
I said, well,
invite every one of them to the border with us on this next trip.
you know, I'd like to. They won't go. You know that.
Yeah.
But most of the people, as you, well, both of you guys know, there's a lot of people that do a lot of talking that they're going to do something, get on like the Trump trains and this take your border back stuff. You know, they do it, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But you know what? You've got to be out there in the trenches like you guys going to the border. You need to get this stuff out because the public just goes to work every day in the Bay Area. They're happy they come home to their nice little house and they lock their doors and go in the house, turn the lights on. And Dan, you can relate to this. And what do? They just basically tune it all out.
Yeah.
And because it's not happening to me. So,
You know,
Well,
Mike, you hit something.
real quick, Dan, and I'm going to give you the air here. You know, here's another good example, guys. Look at Massachusetts. Any of you guys know how much they're expected to spend this year on illegals?
No.
no idea.
They're saying over $1 billion in Massachusetts alone.
Wow.
What it's costing now to house illegals. That's not including the cash cards they give them and everything else. That's just for housing.
A day?
A year.
I mean
A year.
that's but still $1 billion. And who in the hell's pocket is that money going to come out?
Taxpayers.
All of ours.
Yep.
But yet Kamala Harris and these guys, they support this. This is what they want for America. You know?
Yep.
And she's made that more than clear that, you know, we need open borders. People should be allowed to just pour on in. But go ahead, Dan. I'm turning it over to you, buddy.
Good. All right. Well, Mike said something there, and I think I should say something about that because he's right on the money. We did, Jonathan. You and I went and did that. Take back the border. We were excited. We thought it was going to do something, and all the money that was donated to that, I believe it went to churches or something, but it didn't go to what it was supposed to go to, and that's not going to accomplish anything. These churches are helping these illegals. They're paying these illegals. I'm going to say this right now. If you go to Daniel Buteris for Congress, and that's number 4, 2024.com, you can read my webpage. Everything I'm going to do is in there. And if you're going to donate some money to something, donate it to my campaign. Because I guarantee you, I will secure the southern border. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I will shut that son of a gun down. That's it, Jonathan.
I'd be honored to be right there working beside you, brother. I appreciate it.
Right on.
And you know, just all the crap that we're facing in this country, you know, both you and Mike's been down to the borders many times now. You guys got to witness a lot, take a lot of the footage back home. You look at the Chilton Ranch, you know, where they use a lot of the footage that we did in the hearings and stuff. Look at the amount of the cartel going right through his property and the human trafficking and drug trafficking. That's a prime example of, you know, here we turned that over to Jim Jordan there at the hearing over there. Was that Sierra Vista, Dan, or where was that hearing?
That was Sarita.
Sarita.
Jim Jordan was there for Sarita.
So I turned over all the footage over to Jim Jordan, and I'm not here to beat up on Jim Jordan. You know, they played a lot of the footage at the hearing there. But my question to Washington, D.C. is, what the hell are you going to do about it? Yeah, you got what, 4th, 5th generation rancher that has had his life threatened, has had his livestock killed, has his water lines cut by the cartel. They're doing human trafficking, drug trafficking, right through his property. They've got all the evidence in hand from all their videos and recordings, not to mention all the stuff right down at the border wall on Chilton's Ranch. They know what the hell is going on. What does it take to get both sides of the aisle to the table and say this is not a Republican problem, this is not a Democrat problem, This is an American crisis, and we got to solve this crisis now.
And then you
The
look at
question,
just look at that thing that just recently happened here, you know, with this guy from Iran that had a hit out on Trump. He's been here. They picked him up again.
yeah, I just reported on that.
How many people are in this country right now that are just like that, and they had access to come across this border because of Biden and Harris? I mean, the public doesn't even realize this. The average person, I say this again, they come home, they go to work, they come home, they don't even realize it until, you know, something happens tragic. Then they wake up and they go, oh, look at that, you know, where a girl gets murdered and thrown under a bridge in Houston or wherever it was at. That's the kind of stuff that we are going to face here. I don't know, and I could step out on and fall off the tree limb on this one. I don't know if you can turn this around. Trump gets in and get all these people deported. I just think there's going to be legal battles other than he can close the border. I think there's going to be massive illegal people just moving all over the place, committing bigger crimes because they're going to get cut off eventually. If the Republicans are in there, they'll cut some of these fundings off to these blue states for putting these people up. And we're going to have all these millions of people running around, maybe criminals, hopefully not, but I think we're going to have a lot more people die, not just because of the drugs, because of the murders and the crime. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, that's kind of like you look at what the cartel threatened already, and they flat out laughed at us down on the border. You know, we've got enough fentanyl coming through our borders every day, and we've gone over this over and over. Enough fentanyl comes through those borders daily to kill every last man, woman, and child here in America. Hell, they just got done seizing another 1 million pills down there in the Tucson sector, right there, of fentanyl. That's not including all the cocaine, methamphetamines, and everything else.
That was actually in Lukeville.
Yep, Lukeville. Yep. Thank you. But here's the point. Yeah, here's the point. The cartel, I truly believe that's why they're bringing in all these illegals through the border as well, and as well as all the fentanyl, because we got enough fentanyl already on American soil to last over 100 years. We know this. So why in the hell are they trafficking in so much fentanyl? And once again, I'm going to say it to the American people, if you're not awakened to this, you better wake up, because the cartel says it's going to happen. They're going to hit our water supply. They can use it in our food supply with crop dusters. They can even go into buffet lines in your casinos or restaurants and just sprinkle it in a powder form, wearing gloves, whatever they want to do. You know, if they did that simultaneously all across America on the same day, how many people do you think we'd lose here in America?
Especially those buffets that you just made. You just made me stop eating buffets from now on when I go to Las Vegas, period. I'm done.
Well, I'm done, buddy. Right there. I won't eat at them. But here's the thing. If they did that on the same day all across America, we could easily lose 30 to 40 million Americans in one day. You go down to your water treatment plants. Take a look at your water treatment plants. And both of you guys ought to go out and interview some of the guys at the water plants. Most of these water treatment plants, these guys are unarmed. Unarmed security. Yep. And they usually work in groups of 2 or 3 throughout the night. Well, how hard is it to take out an unarmed security guard? My question is, if Homeland Security knows all this can happen, everybody else knows it, why in the hell are they not tightening down our water plants, our food plants, the whole 9 yards? Why is nobody taking action to this? Are they wanting 30, 40 million dead Americans? Is that what America wants? Because nobody's doing anything about it.
You remember after 9/11, all your high wires and all your electrical places, if you ever noticed, we got a lot of high wires, poles, the big towers here in the state of California. You probably have them in Arizona that cross the state. All of those had to have retrofit razor-style blades put on them, and they took the ladders away from them and moved them up. So it's a perfect example of what you're saying. We've done nothing for the sewer or the water supplies, amongst other things probably too, that they could go ahead and poison. You know, because these are what they are. They're just basically terrorists. done nothing about it. And in the state of California, you're right. There, you can drive right over to the sewer plant. Probably drive. I don't even think there's a guard at the one over here. You can drive right in. There's a gate. They close it up at night, but you can drive in there because they're letting you fill up with water, refined water for your yards if you need it to, for your gardens and stuff. So you could just drive in there and take a pound of that stuff you're talking about, the pills, and then toss it over into the water treatment someplace. Where's it going to go?
Exactly. Well, you look at Las Vegas, it's recycled water for drinking. So there you go. Yep. I mean, it's areas like this that really concern me, and I'm afraid it's going to happen here in America. And quite frankly, I take the cartel seriously. So what's your thoughts on this, Dan?
I absolutely agree with you. When you guys told me, when you told me that scenario out there when we were up there in Sassabee, it made me think, because you're absolutely right. You didn't make it over my dad's property, which is just beyond the Chilton's Ranch. But there are stacks and stacks of those empty camouflage backpacks, empty sitting there. So whatever was in there that's where they're getting picked up and taken out. And if it's pure fentanyl, which my understanding is it probably is, just the backpacks that are at my dad's house is enough to wipe out the whole country.
Well, guys, we got a couple comments here. We got Karen O here asking who's buying up all the land, with the water and stuff, it looks like. Let me see if I can get to it. And well, to answer your question, Karen, the Chinese have been buying up farmland, land all across America, and it's happening nonstop. And currently, nobody is putting a stop to the Chinese buying up our land. And we know how bad the Chinese want us dead as well. So I'm sure the Chinese support the cartel, and they would also be happy to help the cartel poison our waters. That'd be part of a way of wiping out America. So, and here's her question. She says, who's purchasing high mountain water sources, land?
Yeah, I see it here.
Yeah. So there you go. That, and it's happening. But look at all the illegals that are pouring in from Iran, Afghanistan, even Russia, China, pouring right through the border as well. And these are all men of fighting
South
age.
America.
I mean, these are men of fighting age we've witnessed and seen. And again, Kamala Harris, 100% supports this. And she's supposed to be the person in charge of the borders? Come on.
Yep.
I want to bring something up that I was talking to you about the other day, Jonathan. And Dan, this is kind of an idea thinking about this a little bit on the outside with the Chinese. I was looking at this Olympic thing, and I broke it down by the event. And this is shocking because we have more guns in this country, and we have a lot of gun owners that you don't know how many gun owners you have because some of them have inherited guns and they don't go out and shoot. They're not members of the NRA and stuff like that. But with that being said, I broke it down and it said China won 10 medals in the shooting sports, and 5 of those were gold. The United States, as of yesterday, had only won 5. That happened in a country that you can't own guns in China. So that's your military people that are probably competing at the Olympics. Our people are basically civilian people. Not a lot of happened. If you remember back in the 80s, that's probably when it started. Sometime, let's just call it close 81 or 82. We started going downhill with the children that we had in the country because we had all these liberals, not wanting children to have guns, especially in California, and they started down this path like the Kamala Harris path. So we've got basically three generations of children that have had very little firearms training to defend this country or whatever that we might need without going to going in the military and learning how to shoot. And then that's kind of late by the time you get to the front lines. They usually already got the beat on you and you're done. But with that being said, that just tells you this has been a thing that's been going on for years in the firearms industry. I've always said, how can we have only 5 million members in the NRA with 330 million in our country? And there's got to be how many millions of gun owners and millions of guns in people's homes. This was all orchestrated one way or the other. I'm going to buy right into it. I've always said it's just crazy that we are to this situation where our children, we got people around here that live around me that are in the state legislature that actually put in a gun ban to where we could not train or have guns of any kind around children under 18 years of age and be able to have signs up that said Winchester or anything. So that cut off all the Boy Scouts until they got this thing turned around. That was not what the intent was, she said, the assemblywoman. Well, do your homework before you go and start passing bills, but that's the Democratic way. Throw it out, see what sticks on the wall, and then guess what? The public will forget about it and move on. And there's not a lot of gun owners. I mean, Arizona's different. California, I would tell you that on most of the streets in the city, there's probably in Dublin, California, there might only be 25% of the people in this whole city of 75,000 that own a gun.
Yep.
That's pretty scary.
So I got Deanna Fandry here. She made a comment. She says, "Why are the Chinese buying our land? And who lets them? The cartels in China are working. The cartels in China are working together as a team." Well, absolutely, they are working together as a team. But furthermore, the federal government's allowing it, which is turned into nothing but a bunch of communists in our government. Not to mention these ranchers right now are being forced into having to sell because you got areas like California. And I'm sure you know this, Mike. California has been ordered to stop watering all the crops 3 years in a row, especially up in Northern California. And they were claiming due to water shortages and everything else in the book. So there you're losing billions of dollars in crops. 3 years in a row has about sunk these farmers. So what happens? Next thing you know, the Chinese come in and they buy it all up. Now, chances are, watch these Chinese get water rights. They're going to be allowed to water.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're farming right now, Jonathan. They're farming and they're getting ready to start mining up northern Arizona. And they get to use all the water they want, and they're trying to limit what U.S. citizens are using.
Yep.
And that is happening right now.
We're seeing it every day, and like Farmers of America, they're announcing that we're going to have a major food crisis here this is almost a year ago, saying at the end of this year here, when the supplies run out, that was pretty much it. Well, we'll see what happens at the end of this year. But it's not looking good for America, I can tell you that.
Well, in Miranda, they got rid of a whole bunch of the farmland and put in solar panels.
Yeah.
And solar panels and houses. They're the farmlands. I mean, we're talking miles and miles of farmland that are gone. Who's going to feed us? We can't eat solar panels.
Yeah. Mike, do you have very many of the big farms up in your neck of the woods shutting down at all?
Well, they're getting restricted on Newsom started this a couple of years ago, and he started on the restrictions of the water that run in the canal. It runs from Northern California all the way down the aqueduct, they call it. It runs all the way down to L.A. because we supply the water to L.A. from up north out of all the big reservoirs. But I know that there's a Chinese operation with a group that just bought a bunch of land, and they're trying to get it passed and everything, and they're all saying the Chinese aren't involved in it and everything like that, but they bought the properties, which were very why would you be buying property next to where jets are flying over all the time and put houses in there, unless there's another hidden agenda, you know? But they're
Did
trying
I
to
hear
put a
you
community
correctly? Did you say that's near an Air Force base?
Oh yeah, Travis up north up here, right up by Fairfield,
Travis Air
California.
Force Base. Why in the hell would they allow the Chinese to buy up land right near an Air Force Base?
Oh, they bought up a pile of land in there, and they're trying to put in a housing development, and they're not going to have any water shortage. And they were talking about it. They're going to suck water out of the delta, which is a lot of the water from the delta, which is non-salt, obviously, goes down to the aqueduct down through there. But there's just so much going on. These people, and the public doesn't even get involved in it. They just they see it on the fake news on television, and that's people are up in
What
arms
the hell
about
could
it.
possibly go wrong with that? Jeez.
Yeah, the Chinese right next to our military base.
Unbelievable. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming on tonight. I've been just furious over what's happening in our country. I'm getting sick and tired of hearing Republicans saying they're just done voting. I mean, right now, every vote matters.
Yeah, don't give it away.
I mean, you guys want to throw in the towel, you might as well pack your bags and get the hell out of our country. You know, that's where I'm at. I mean, this should be all about God, family, and country, and it's fighting and never surrendering to the enemy. And as far as I'm concerned, if you want to throw in the towel, you just surrender to the enemy.
Exactly.
And, you know, again, just all the stuff that we're witnessing. I mean, go over to my live board news channel, look at the amount of police officers and sheriffs and other people that have fallen this year just in 2024. It's right there on my live board of news on Facebook. Take a look, see it for yourself. And again, Facebook flagged me for it, set up, and I showed it to my personal Facebook page. And they didn't want that getting out to America. And again, you know, I disputed it. We'll see what happens with it. But they don't give you a chance when you dispute things on Facebook to actually comment about why you're in the right for doing it. They just give you basically a yes or no checkbox.
Yep.
So other than that, Dan, you got a big event coming up down there. You want to tell the audience?
On the 24th, we're doing a poker run in Tucson. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got Jim Click has donated a $500 gift card for parts and service. Gun store. What was the name of the gun store?
Diamondback.
Diamondback Guns has donated a 9mm. And Tucson Appliance has donated a $300 gift card. We're going to have 3 places in the poker draw.
Lots of other prizes.
And we have other prizes, you know, to have a good time. All the candidates are going to be at different locations where they'll get their cards. It's going to be a lot of fun. And if anybody wants to go, just go to Buteris for Congress. And I post my events, my upcoming events there. It's on Facebook. So.
Well, Dan, I want a big fat steak waiting for me and Mike when we get there.
You got it.
And to top it off, we can hear your other half in the background helping you out. Way to go! Way to go there. I mean, you got to put her on camera for a second.
Come here, honey. Come here. They want to say hi to you.
We got to give this woman recognition for all the work she's done on your campaign.
Hello.
Hello there, Paula.
Miss you.
Well, we appreciate all you do.
Thank you.
She's camera shy.
So, and Mike will keep you informed on our upcoming date down to the border. And looks like we're going to have 2 different senators coming with us as well. Not that it's going to matter, but we got 2 senators coming in, and just want to give them a nice education as well. And beyond that, to all you guys across America, your vote does matter. We need your support. We need you to vote for Daniel Buteris. We need you to definitely get out and get your vote for Donald Trump. We need Donald Trump in office. We've got to save this country now, and I cannot express it enough. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if we don't save this country now, then you can throw in the towel. Because this country ain't going to last another 4 years. Not like it's been. That's why this election is so vital for all Americans to get out and vote.
Amen.
No doubt. Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we're going to end this broadcast tonight. And it was great having you on, Dan and Mike.
You do, John.
Appreciate you guys being here. And
Great seeing both of you.
Let's make America great, guys. And let's get out there and fight. It's going to take all of us. And Donald Trump needs each and every one of us to fight. All right, guys. God bless you guys. And appreciate you guys joining in tonight, the live border news. Just want to make sure I don't want to be rude and hang up on people real quick. Hold on. George Daneca says, got an ammo up. Couldn't agree more, George. Karen O says, I've got a rope. Karen, appreciate you joining in tonight. Thank you. And Deanna, muchly appreciate. Deanna Fandry, muchly appreciate you jumping in on the conversation tonight as well. And for the rest of you guys out there, again, we need all of you to fight. Looks like we got Gene Molenkop. Fight. Stolen valor, lies being told about military service in Iraq by Kamala's Vice President, Choice Tim Waltz. You know, Gene, couldn't agree with you more. And as far as I'm concerned, they ought to hang him for it. And Deanna Fendry says, America come first. 100% agree with you. It looks like Shallon Frey says, Dan Bongino says, when you go vote, to take 10 people with you to Oslo as well. Hey, that's a great idea, guys. How many, I don't want to quite end this yet. How many old people do we guys know that can barely even get around? That would love to get out and vote. They just are unable to. I think everybody ought to be focusing on our senior citizens as well. Getting out there. Come voting time. Let them know a couple of days in advance, hey, I'm going to come by and pick you up, and I'm going to personally take you in to vote. If we were to do that, imagine how many more thousands and thousands of votes we can get.
Yep.
Because I've heard a lot of retired people tell me they couldn't get out and vote. And we know how the mail-in ballots go. So a lot of these old people won't even consider putting their name on a mail-in. They want it in person. So again, if there's all kinds of ways we can help people get out and vote. Or somebody's don't have transportation, drive them. It's going to take all of us working together. So, all right, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and end this live stream. I think I've got pretty much. Oh, Mark Bennett, they are communists. Amen, Mark. Yep. And much appreciate you always being on my channels, Mark. Appreciate your support. All right, guys, if you guys would like to make any contributions to Daniel Buteris, you can go to his website. Once again, you want to repeat your website, Dan?
It's Daniel Buteris. That's B as in boy, UTIEREZ 4, Congress2024.com.
And if any of you guys would like to help support Live Border News, at the top of my channel here, I've got a donate area where you can go in and make a small contribution. We 100% fund ourselves and bring the news to you guys out in the field without anybody helping. So we could definitely use the help time to time. We've had very little in donations. So if anybody would like to make a contribution, we would happily accept it. So other than that, guys, God bless everybody. God bless this great country of ours. And this is Jonathan Alexander reporting live with Live Border News.
Good night.